Hey guys, Ranger here, and welcome back to another reaction and review. And this is to the 13th episode of MLP Season 9. I apologize that it's been this late since I've got to the video, but I wanted to get to it before the second half of the ninth season began, and also before BronyCon. But this is Between Dark and Dawn, and I already know that this is about Luna and Celestia, and I know that because of, in my recommendations, thumbnails that appeared showing Luna and Celestia like wearing like Hawaiian shirts or something. So I'm just assuming that they go on some sort of road trip together, like a little vacation or something. Otherwise, I don't know anything about it. So let's dive in and see what awesomeness awaits us. So, let's begin! Start the video in 3, 2, 1. No. No. Okay, very interesting setup for this. And I do love it already. I do love it. Luna and Celestia, since this is season 9 here, all the way since season 1, Luna and Celestia had kind of taken a back seat to the rest of the characters. And, like, it's been the main six who has saved Equestria on multiple occasions. And Luna and Celestia are just now doing something? Okay. Alright, I really love this episode. I really do. And this is honestly one of my favorite episodes of the season. And there's two different dynamics going on in this episode to discuss, and I'm going to try to cover both. Now, I'm definitely going to say that this episode was kind of fast-paced, and so because there were two because there were two stories that were going on at the same time, it didn't exactly give them a whole lot of time to focus on both stories, on either story, to try to put more into it. There were two different stories that were going on together, and so it was very fast-paced. And I will say that had they have just focused on one of the individual stories as a whole, they could have definitely put more development into each of the stories. Actually, they could have probably done something similar to what they did before with the Equestria Games, where they had one episode that focused on the ponies leaving and their endeavor with that, but then another episode focused on Spike. And so they probably could have done two episodes like that, but I can understand that would have actually increased this season's episode count to 27, making it the most episodes that one single season has had. And they probably didn't want to do that. We wouldn't have complained, but I did really enjoy this episode. And there were, like I said, there were two different stories going on. The first story is this is the smaller story, which I'm going to discuss, which is that Twilight ended up leaving. Luna and Celestia left and decided to leave Twilight in charge, so that because Twilight made the remark that whenever they retire, that she could be more mentally and emotionally prepared to rule over Equestria. So Twilight is more thinking about the concept of ruling Equestria, and Luna and Celestia are more thinking about what happens whenever they do retire. And I think this is very interesting in that it's a slow build up. I don't really know if this will happen throughout the rest, like in the finale of MLP, or heck, that might even be what G5 turns out to be, as Luna and Celestia have finally retired, and Twilight is the ruler of Equestria. I don't know. But Twilight is left in charge, and Twilight decides that she's going to try to handle everything on her own, because she thinks that if Luna and Celestia could do it, that it will be good for her to try to do it, because would make her look more capable. And immediately, the first thing that happened, I knew, was that Twilight was she was putting more work. She was putting more on herself than what she needed to. And the first actual glimpse that I got into this, the first glimpse that I got was whenever Fancy Pants, and I forgot his wife's name, and this other dude here, uh, or sorry, not Fancy Pants' wife, but these Upper Crust, and I forgot the other's name, showed up, and they were on the committee. And immediately, as soon as Twilight turned them down, and she made the remark that if they accepted help, that it would make them look less capable. Immediately, as soon as Twilight said that, I knew, no, that's not the setup. They were, no doubt, already part of the planning committee before. Luna and Celestia didn't handle all this on their own, and it was basically the scenario where someone tries to put more off on themselves, thinking that it would make them look better and more capable should they try to handle something on their own. Instead, they get completely overwhelmed, they get completely burned out on it, and actually it's the scenario where they are more mature if they admit that they need help. And I knew that that was a setup here for Twilight, and that she was putting more off on herself than what she was capable of doing. And it turns out, yes, that's exactly what happened. Twilight and her friends, all the main six, tried to handle every single thing on their own, and it was just a complete chaos. Like, they were doing it in a different fashion. They were trying to do it in their own way, yes, but the only way really that they knew how, because they didn't have the other committee helping them, and Twilight still wanted to try to do it on her own. And there was other scenarios going on around the whole thing that made it obvious that there were, like, the crew that was going on strike, and it was just more chaos. So I knew that Twilight was putting off more on herself than what she could actually handle. Not just her, but her friends as well. And Fancy Pants, I gotta say, was really cool about this, because he just kind of very calm and basically was just waiting for the crap to go down so that he could just reveal, okay, I'm part of this committee anyway. And he revealed, naturally, that the Luna Celestia didn't handle it all on their own, that they had help. And that's basically what is going on here. And Twilight decided, let's delegate, which was honestly hilarious. And I really particularly, and now there's a couple different little minor things to discuss here. I love Fluttershy's assertiveness here, where she's giving Fleur de Lis a order here, but then she follows up with her normal Fluttershy shyness, where she says, if you don't mind. I really love, again, it shows how Fluttershy is more developed. And there is one little thing here where Twilight looks on with a smirk, and she says, so this is how you rule Equestria. And it's basically Twilight is finding out that, it's a team effort. It's not just about her trying to rule on her own, that she has help within the court, help with, delegates. She has many other individuals. I don't want to say at her disposal, but she has many other individuals that are under her in terms of rank and position that are tasked with making decisions. Twilight might have a hoof in helping to make those decisions, but she's not completely 100% behind every single one. And here, now I can easily see someone saying that this is a problem here because Twilight is going to become a complete tyrant. She's going to rule over Equestria with an iron hoof, and she's going to be a complete tyrant. And it would make for an interesting story, but I don't see that happening. Because I really want to believe that Twilight, she's the same little sweet Twilight that we've known since season 1, and she figured out here that Luna and Celestia wasn't making all the choices on their own, and that they had help. And she realized, so this is how you do it. And here, I think, is more Twilight accepting the responsibility that comes with that. That more comes with the responsibility of ruling over Equestria. And we get a glimpse of whenever the sun and the moon are, of course, going all wonky. And I knew immediately that Twilight was having trouble, and Luna and Celestia, of course, knew it as well, which was honestly hilarious. And we see Twilight just kind of in a mental panic over and over, like she's trying to use this amulet. And it's hilarious that she's trying to use it to the best of her ability, but at the same time, she's in a complete panic. Spike says you have to reset it using this gear. Twilight tries using it, but she's kind of a little not exactly power crazy, but she's a little on edge here, and she ends up breaking it. And in the end, in the distance, you hear her say, "Does any pony have any tape?" I love this bit. It's really hilarious. It's really hilarious. And I feel sorry for Twilight, but yeah, basically she did try. Yeah, this does show, I mean, that Twilight it's a learning process for her. She's still learning about how to rule Equestria. I still think that she doesn't have, the correct, I still think that she doesn't really have the correct mindset and enough, like she's still not mentally and emotionally ready to rule Equestria yet. This episode, I think, was a step for her, but it wasn't a big step. It was a little step, and with every little step, she'll become closer and closer to the point of being able to actually rule Equestria. But I have to say, it is commendable that she acknowledged that she wasn't mentally or emotionally ready to rule Equestria just yet. And I think here, yes, this is a baby step for her. This is a step where she did learn that, ruling Equestria is not about ruling it all on your own, that there are others that will help you to make decisions. And so it's not all the effort on you. But she also did botch trying to raise the sun and moon. And she ended up kind of going a little crazy right there at the end. So again, I think that it definitely is still a learning process. And honestly, I like that she did kind of botch it at the end, because had she have actually done it and Luna and Celestia said, well, she's capable of doing this, it would have put more emphasis on the concept of Twilight being more and more ready. But I'm honestly, and I think it would have been a good way to have ended the episode, but at the same time, I really like the ending that we got with Twilight not having everything fully 100% taken care of, and that Luna and Celestia were still there having to try to guide her. I still think that is really good, because it seems to me more natural. It seems more realistic. And so I do. Whether Twilight will become ruler of Equestria in the final episode, I don't know. Whether she might do it in in Generation 5, I don't know. But I have to say, I did enjoy the ending that we got, and I did enjoy the setup with Twilight trying to do that. It was quick paced, but it was really good what we did get of it. Now, the second story that was going on in this particular episode was the most comical, and I think the most emotional aspect of the whole thing, which was Luna and Celestia basically going on this sister adventure together. Now, in the beginning of the episode, Luna and Celestia decided that they wanted to try to help out. Rainbow made the complete mention that suddenly Luna and Celestia appear. That out of all the other times, now they appear for this. And this is completely true. And this could actually be, I don't know if this is intended to be a complete inside, directed joke at the writing that they've done with Luna and Celestia all the way from season 1 to now. But yeah, Luna, like I was saying prior, Luna and Celestia have kind of taken a back seat throughout the episodes, throughout the seasons. They kind of took a back seat of sorts, and didn't really help out with some of the things that were going on. Celestia wasn't present whenever it was the main six who freed Nightmare Moon. Luna and Celestia weren't present either whenever they got the Elements of Harmony, whenever the main six got the Elements of Harmony and defeated Discord. And they also weren't present whenever the main six ended up defeating Discord. Defeating King Sombra. So yeah, Yeah, Luna and Celestia haven't really participated in very much action up until this point, and I think it's hilarious that just now they suddenly start helping out. And I think, okay, a very interesting side story that I can make with this. And throughout the episode, Luna and Celestia are trying to help out. They're having fun. They're they're having fun. Uh, basically doing what the main six would be doing, and the main six aren't really able to do anything because Luna and Celestia are kind of always there helping out with little things, and Luna and Celestia are always there helping out with every little thing, and it's making it more and more complicated for all the main six because normal tasks that they would be doing, they're not able to handle it all on their own like they would normally do, and so they're not used to having Luna and Celestia help out. The Twilight even begins to fear that maybe Luna and Celestia think that they can't handle their tasks all on their own. But what it comes down to, and I see a kind of a similarity here. Basically, Luna and Celestia are just kind of bored. They're just kind of bored with their traditional life. They like having adventure now. And they make the remark that whenever they were helping out with they make the remark that whenever they were helping out with Star Swirl the Bearded before in the Everfree Forest, that they realized that they enjoyed having that adventure, and it had been such a long time since they had actually had their hoof in doing something like that, and so now they want to be able to do something like that again. But there's honestly kind of a funny gimmick here that you could kind of say is early on with this, it kind of made it seem like Luna and Celestia, like right here, Rainbow Dash told them that they don't have to follow them around and do everything that basically that they do, that they don't have to follow them. I saw a similar connection here, a similarity in like a scenario where a parent begins to follow the kid around, or like the young adult, because the parent is suddenly trying to kind of push themselves into their life, because they think that, and I have seen that gimmick before, where the teen or the young adult is kind of just doing their own thing, and suddenly the parent wants to be involved with that because they see their kid having fun, and so they try to thrust themselves into their kid's life and begin trying to hang out with them, and it, like the kid, it's a very awkward situation, and that's kind of, that's what I felt with this, is that Luna and Celestia are kind of butting into their students' lives and trying to kind of take that fun away from them, not intentionally, like they're not intending any harm, but even minor things that wouldn't require them to really do anything, they're making kind of a big deal out of it. And so it's kind of it is very awkward. It's kind of cringeworthy at first because Luna and Celestia are kind of making a big deal. They're kind of making a big flashy concept out of things that really don't require it. And I'm not putting them at fault. I'm not whatsoever saying that they're bad guys or bad girls here. It's just they haven't really done anything like this in so long. So here they are trying to get involved with every single thing that they can. And so I can kind of understand that, yes, but it's still hilarious and kind of, face palming to see what is going on with this. But I gotta say, this whole episode, the focus with Luna and Celestia, was definitely one of my favorite aspects of this entire episode. Because ever since Luna and Celestia, ever since Luna returned at the end of the first episode, and Luna didn't return to her normal form until later, I think until in season 2, with the Nightmare Night episode, where Luna finally returned to Ponyville, and Twilight had to help Luna readjust. And a lot of people, myself included, a lot of us have wanted to see more development with Luna and Celestia as sisters. We didn't want to see them be the royal, regal sisters all the time. We wanted to see some normalcy. We wanted to see the normal sisterly banter and fun and just shenanigans going on between them. And we have gotten a few glimpses of that, and even a couple of episodes dedicated to that, where we got to see them interact with each other and just be themselves. This is the first episode that we actually got to see them really fully 100% break away from that. And here we actually get to see them act like it's basically like they're teenagers again. You know, they're like young adults right here. Luna laying on the bed, excited for what's to come, and the interactions between them is completely natural, and I really love it. I love all of the performances that Tabitha and Nicole have done as Luna and Celestia, but I gotta say this is definitely one of my favorite interactions between them. Like, this is one of my favorite moments between Tabitha and Nicole, because the interactions between them here, it's so genuine, it's so fun, it's just such a joy to listen to. It's just such a pure delight, and it was just so much fun to hear the dialogue for them. I absolutely loved it. This is the first time that I've ever officially seen Luna and Celestia without their tiaras, and they don't have those like crystal like shoes that they wore before. They don't have any of that. Their hair is literally in ponytails. These are ponies. Their hair is in ponytails, okay? And they're just going on like a vacation. And this is just so much fun to see this. And I love the song as well that they sang during this. I love the song that they performed during this. It was great to finally hear Luna and Celestia do a song together. It was really great. I loved it. And there was a lot of stuff going on in the background, including Discord and Schmooze, I think it was. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Son of a gun! I just now noticed this guy. Capper? In the background? Is that Capper? Oh my gosh, is that actually Capper? That's interesting. That's interesting. I just now noticed. There are some other interesting things I have to point out quickly. Gabby and Gilda hanging out together, which is cool. Flim and Flam sitting beside the road, basically just like trying to hitchhike, which is hilarious. Discord and his schmooze buddy. That did not come out right. And so help me, that's Capper against the tree. That's Capper. But where is Tempest? But again, I love the fun that Luna and Celestia had. Like, this was just so genuine. In this episode, they weren't royal sisters. They weren't regal. They weren't the royal sisters. They were just them. They were just having fun. And this was just such a very fun episode. And I love some of the artwork as well. Well, here was really cool. This is also really cool. This is definitely, and like I said, I love the interactions between Luna and Celestia here. I mean, them having a chance to just kind of hang out, just relax, take a break from their duties is just fantastic. I love it. But I knew that the moment that they started the song and it was about how great everything was, I knew that it was a premonition, basically leading up to them being disappointed. And there was an interesting dynamic going on here because Luna and Celestia are definitely different. They're sisters, yeah, but they are different. They have different interests and such. And it's interesting that, you know, Celestia, she likes really exciting things, you know, like going ziplining, skydiving, things like that. Luna is more the kind that would just, you know, is content, just relaxing up against a tree, you know, reading a book, and just kind of relaxing and just chilling. And it's a very interesting setup between them. You know, Luna likes the opera. She likes to play. Celestia clearly doesn't have an interest in it. But it's very interesting, and it's realistic. And I love this whole setup with them because it's very natural. And this is also, if I'm not mistaken, this is also the first time that we've seen any of the ponies in swimwear. ever. And it's and like Luna's like Celestia is wearing a modern type I don't one piece, I believe, and Luna's wearing like the old style, like the old style from before the night from like the 1900s, which is comical. And so help me, this is Rainbow Road. And again, Derpy, we get little Derpster again. And like I said, it's very interesting because I honestly, I can understand both Luna and Celestia here. In that Luna is more, she's more into simplicity. She's more into the simple things. Celestia more likes the big adventurous kind of stuff. She's more into big adventures and going all out, going big. Luna prefers more of the simple things. She's more simplistic and more relaxed and easygoing, and more into the simple little pleasures. And it's very interesting because of that. And I love this setup between them. And honestly, I fully understand both sisters, as I honestly, I'm a combination of both. I like big adventures, but at the same time, I am simplistic. I find a rainy day relaxing. I love a rainy day, just hearing the rain and just relaxing. But I'm totally fine with having a big adventure as well. So I can understand both sisters completely. But I honestly loved the whole setup with Luna and Celestia and the different things that was going on here with them. And 80s Luna. I love this. Total, like, 80s Luna here. Like, this could be a synthwave album cover right here. I love this. And Celestia, honestly, I love her look as well. Like, this total goth look for her. I love this. I honestly do. It really does look good on her as well. It really, truly does. And I also think it's cool that they were both skydiving and both were wearing their new outfits. But I really, honestly, I can see both perspectives here. Luna and Celestia both. They may be sisters, but, you know, you're not always going to have 100% with a sibling or with a friend. You're not always going to have 100% everything in common. Luna, as I said, is more into the simplistic things. Celestia is more into the bigger things, like more out there. And Luna feels it's hard for her because she is the little sister, and she sometimes has felt bossed around by Celestia because Celestia is the bigger sister. And Celestia, there's this sort of a it's very interesting, but you could kind of make a similar comparison of sorts to Sam and Dean Winchester. You know, Dean feels like it's his responsibility to look after Sam because that's his little brother. He's sort of made that remark several times throughout the series. That, I mean, and even their dad told him that basically it's his responsibility to look after Sammy. And here, I think, to a degree, Celestia kind of feels like that, to a degree, that she's, you know, she's trying to watch out for her little sister, but at the same time, Luna is still trying to live her own life. She feels pressured because it always feels like Celestia wants Luna to do what she wants to do, but not what Luna wants to do. And this moment, this is kind of a built-up tension here. And I still think that, you know, even though Luna came back, and even though Luna had to forgive herself in Do Princess's Dream of Magic Sheep, I still think that there will always be a tension between Luna and Celestia over the whole Nightmare Moon incident. And it's not something that I think that it's not something that is easy. It's not really something that Luna can really 100% let go. And there's multiple layers of different dynamics going on with this. Um, in that, first off, Luna, we have seen before, Luna blames herself. She's upset with herself for becoming Nightmare Moon, for allowing herself to become Nightmare Moon. And I think that still there is still a, a little bit of bitterness here. Whenever Luna makes the remark to Celestia that Celestia probably enjoyed being able to rule everything on her own without her sister dragging, along behind her. And Celestia told her that that it wasn't easy for her either. And the sisters ended up exchanging some harsh words between one another. And I think to a degree that this kind of needed to be said. They spent like 1,000 years separated. And I think that there's a very interesting dynamic between Luna and Celestia. They did live in kind of harmony at one point, but then Luna began to get jealous. She began to become envious of the attention that Celestia received. And being the little sister, it felt like, the big sister was always getting all the attention. And so her bitterness towards her sister, her anger, I don't know how Luna became Nightmare Moon. I don't know if Luna's jealousy manifested itself into Nightmare Moon, or if Nightmare Moon was already an entity that just fed off of Luna's jealousy and became stronger. I really don't know which is which. I never knew. I've never known which one was which. But Luna Luna and Celestia fought, and Celestia didn't want to have to banish her sister, but she ended up having to do so. And I think Celestia, she always hated that she had to do that. I think she always hated herself for having to do what she did, even though she knew that it was the only thing that she could do. And then Luna, I think, to a degree, sometimes she still feels out of place with reality. She still feels like she doesn't fit in with the modern world. And I still think that there is some thin ice between them, some cracked ice from time to time that they tread on. And the concept of Nightmare Moon is not an easy subject for them. I think that they will always hate each other. They will not each other, but they will always hate themselves. Luna will always feel bitterness towards herself for what she allowed herself to become. And she still feels, and even though that is part of the past and behind them, Luna still feels like she's still the little sister, and still feels sometimes like Celestia is still trying to take control of her life. And Luna, she was banished for 1,000 years, and Celestia had to deal with all of that, raising the sun and the moon for 1,000 years, and so she suddenly was forced into taking on this massive responsibility, and it just, it probably did put more of a burden on her. And so you can honestly probably say that it probably affected Celestia's psyche a little bit, her mentality, because she suddenly had to deal with not only the concept of having to banish her only sister, and then suddenly she was alone, like she had no other family. And she was responsible for having to banish, Luna. And Celestia may have also blamed herself too for what Luna became, thinking, maybe, what if I gave her more attention? What if I just told her more often how much that I did appreciate Luna's night, and others maybe told her as well. And so I think there will always be a sort of a little bit of tension between Luna and Celestia, and at the same time that part of me wishes that they could both completely 100% put that behind them and move forward. At the same time, it's understandable and it's relatable and it's realistic in that there's still that thin ice that from time to time is tread upon. And whenever they exchange these heated words here, it wasn't easy to listen to whatsoever, but I think that it was something that they needed to be said. And it wasn't easy at all either. Like I said, it was not easy to hear, but we see Luna, she begins to cry, and as it begins to hurt her. And they tried doing different things on their own. They tried to do different things on their own which it was cool to see Luna just kind of sitting on the beach here, relaxing. Just being Luna here, it was really cool to see that. But, of course, as Luna and Celestia spent time apart, they began to realize that, they did miss each other, and they began to realize that even that they still looked out for each other. They began to realize that they did look out for each other, and how much that they kind of did, rely upon and count on each other for different things. And honestly, this whole sisterly outing between them, it really was worth them experiencing, because it helped them. I really feel that it helped them to grow closer. It helped them to realize and understand more about each other, and kind of become closer as sisters. And so I really think that this really did help them, and it was good for them to experience this. And it was a really good episode to see that. But yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite episodes of this season. But like I said, I'm an only child, so I can't say that I relate to the concept of having an older or younger sibling. But I'm sure some of you could probably very much relate to Luna and Celestia both. Like I said, after watching Supernatural, I can see a sort of a similarity between Celestia and Dean and Luna and Sam, in that sometimes Dean feels like it's his responsibility. Celestia feels like it's her responsibility. Dean feels like it's his responsibility to look after Sam. Celestia feels like it's her responsibility to look after Luna. But the thing is, Sam and Luna, they are their own people, and so they sometimes feel like they're under the foot or the hoof of their older sibling, and instead of their older sibling allowing them to be able to make their own choice or kind of live their own life, it always feels like their sibling is bossy, because the sibling may say, well, I know what's better for you, or I know what's best. And so I do see a similarity between that. But just like with Supernatural, throughout the moments that we've seen with Luna and Celestia, the exploits that they've had, we have seen them grow closer, understand each other more, and kind of work through their differences, their mentality, and their emotional and mental struggles with each other to bypass that in order for them to become closer. And so I really think that I really love this episode, honestly, because it was a very fun episode to watch. I love Nicole and Tabitha's performances as Luna and Celestia in this. This is definitely one of my favorite moments of them, and it was great for them to just kind of be able to just have fun with this script, and for their characters to just kind of let loose and just be sisters. I love that. And I really hope that Tabitha and Nicole had a lot of fun with this episode as well. But I really did enjoy this episode because it allowed us to be able to see more of Luna and Celestia hanging out together, just being sisters. And we got to see them kind of release more tension that I think was present between them. And so now that tension is gone, now I really think that they are closer now. And so that's always a very good thing. And I'm not going to say whatsoever that they are still bitter toward each other. They're not. Siblings, you're always going to have some bitterness. You're always going to have moments whenever you argue, whenever you bicker. It's, the sibling rivalry thing. It's always going to be a present thing, but it's how you handle that and how you work through it, to be able to understand one another, to be able to get closer, that is important. And for Luna and Celestia, that was a thing. And they're still going to have, arguments from time to time, but with every single argument, with every single thing, with every single situation like this, they will end up becoming closer, and it more strengthens them. And so I really enjoyed this episode because of that. But and also there was a lot of different background things going on with Derpy and even Discord there, and so help me, that was Capper. And I love the little moments that we got to see Luna and Celestia just kind of just being them. It was really cool to be able to see that. But it's for the 13th episode, the split between the season. I really enjoyed this episode, and I think this episode was perfect for the season for the mid-season split. So this was very, 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 very fun to watch. And now, waiting for the second half of season 9 to begin. And 13 more episodes. I don't want it to end, but at the same time, I know that it's going to, and I have accepted it somewhat. But, regardless, the Brony fandom will always be, and we'll still always have the show. So, we can count on that. But thanks again to Hasbro DHX, everybody that worked on this episode, to the writers for writing this episode. Thank you so much for giving us this episode. So thank you all so much. Thank you guys again for joining me as well. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. Hopefully I will see you guys in the next video that I do. Take care.